Hello and welcome to Core Women. My name is Dr. Summer Watson and I'm the founder of Core Women, and I'm also an empowerment strategist for women. So if you're listening to this podcast to delve more into empowerment strategies, well, you're here for the right reason. However, Core Women was also developed because it's a special place that provides a unique idea of home for the hearts and souls of women. It's a place for us to share our strength, energy, wisdom, and authenticity. It's a place for women to find support and strategic empowerment ideas that will help support their lives. Today on the show, I'd like to welcome Anamaria Morales. She is a young woman that is resilient, enterprising, and putting action behind her goals. Anamaria had a dream to go to UC Berkeley, but knew she would have to work hard to afford college and get into her school of choice. You're going to want to listen to her story because it's one that will touch your soul and inspire you. Let's get right into talking about your exciting journey, Anamaria, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being on the Core Women podcast. So let's talk about your journey, how you've overcome obstacle after obstacle and made your dreams come true. Let's take a trip back to when you were a preteen and had this beautiful dream to one day go to college, but not just any college, UC Berkeley, Cal Berkeley.
Growing up in a family where we didn't really talk about college, I was looking for the one that resonated most with me. And I always heard my dad, we're coming from a big sports family here, so I always heard my dad talking about Cal, Berkeley, football, soccer, all that stuff. And I kept hearing only good things about this college. And then one day, my mom and I went to Big Five or something like that, some sort of sporting store, and I saw Berkeley sweatpants. And I thought, oh man, I got to get these. And so that's the only thing I've ever had since I was a little girl that really spoke out as college to me. And I just knew in the back of my mind that this magical place had a good reputation to it. So when I was in high school and applying to colleges, I knew Cal Berkeley was one of the places that I was going to apply to.
Gotcha. And so once you applied to Cal Berkeley, then what happened?
Well, it's not such a simple road.
Right.
When I was a senior in high school, it was around January, and this is application season for all the high school seniors. And I had applied to probably 20 different schools because I knew that I wanted to go to college. I knew that I wanted a different outcome for myself. I knew I wanted a different future for myself, and I thought a college education would be the way to do that. So I wanted to make sure I got into a college. So I applied to all these different colleges, Berkeley being one of them. And by the time May rolled around and you hear your either rejection or acceptance responses, I had been accepted to quite a few, but rejected from UC Berkeley. So that was my first rejection from UC Berkeley.
So did you decide to go to a different school at that point?
Yes. Okay. So with school, all right. So after I had been rejected from UC Berkeley, I thought, gosh, I have two choices here. Actually, I have three choices. I could trash my dream and not go to college. I could go to a different university and take out hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans and go to a school that I didn't really want to go to, or I could attend the Santa Rosa Junior College, the local community college here in my community, for 2 or 3 years, get my general education done, and transfer. So I chose Plan C, and I went to Santa Rosa Junior College for 3 years. And in those 3 years, I took over 60 units online, and I took all of my general education online so that I could spend time traveling the world alone as a young girl, and I could grow my cheesecake business that I had started.
Awesome. Now, what is that called?
The cheesecake business is called College Confectionista.
Woohoo! I love
it. So it's actually pretty funny. A lot of people have a hard time pronouncing confectionista, and so I always feel like I have to explain myself just to inspire people to stick with the name and try and learn how to pronounce the name.
I love it.
This
College
name.
Confectionista.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't even know. It came to me in a visionary stroke of something. I couldn't get it out of my head. Once I had it in my mind, that's all I could think about. That's all I could say. People were older men were saying, you should name it Cheesecake Chicks.
Oh, no.
all of these super sexist things. And I thought, you know what? That only means that I have to stay my course and truly stick to College Confectionista. And and ignore those suggestions. The goal is college, right? So that's the first part of the name. Mm-hmm. And the second part of the name, confectionista, someone who works with sugar is a confectionist or works in a confectionery, someone who is infatuated with something or knows a lot about something. You add ISTA to the end of the word. So, for example, fashionista, someone who is obsessed with fashion. Gotcha. A confectionista is, I think, a word that I don't think I made it up, but it's definitely hasn't been used a lot, and it's someone who is obsessed or loves to work with sugar. And to play more on words, I'm half Mexican, so I wanted to incorporate my culture into that. And in Spanish, you add ito or ita or ista or isto at the end of the word to make it masculine or feminine and to make it a small word. So adding ista at the end of confectionista is essentially means a small woman who works with sugar and is infatuated by sugar, and the goal is college.
Love that. I love that whole origin story right there. That is awesome. And you learn something new every day, right?
Exactly. Yes, totally.
So moving forward, so why cheesecake? Why cheesecake?
Yes, the golden question.
Right.
It was still around January, my senior year at El Molino High School, and it was Christmas break, and I'm feeling overwhelmed and feeling pressure by all of these college applications and writing the essays and paying the fees and all of this stress. And what do I do when I'm stressed? I bake. I bake it out.
I love that. I love that. I do that too. I love it. It's like mix. Pour, right?
So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a cheesecake. Nobody in my family has ever made a cheesecake. We don't have a secret family recipe for cheesecake. So I'm gonna come up with my own recipe. I'm gonna make a cheesecake, and we're gonna see how it goes. So I had made my first cheesecake I had ever made. It was a New York style cheesecake. That's what I called it back then. So a classic vanilla-ishy filling with a buttery graham cracker crust. And everybody in my family loved it. Even my little brother, who doesn't like cheesecake, he said, "Oh my gosh, this is really good, Anamaria."
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
I knew I had a good thing on my hand. I knew this recipe, I have to keep it a secret. This is a good little recipe I made. And my mom told me, "Anamaria, I cannot have the cheesecake in the refrigerator. I'm going to eat the whole thing." So, So I said, okay. Well, I'll take some to my friends, and you can take some to your coworkers, and we'll just give it out to friends and family, and it'll get eaten happily. So my mom gave the cheesecake slice to one of her coworkers named Kristen, and Kristen was a cheesecake fanatic, and she absolutely loved it. She said, "Oh my gosh, Laura, this is the best cheesecake I've ever had in my life." And my mom said, "Oh my gosh, well, take some to your husband." And her husband was also a cheesecake fanatic, and he said, "Oh my gosh, Kristen, this is the best cheesecake I've ever had in my life." And so Kristen said, "Okay, that's it. I'm going to get Anamaria's recipe, and I'm going to recreate this cheesecake." So Kristen asked me for my recipe, and I said, sorry. I'm going to keep it a secret. I want to keep it a secret. It seems like this is a good secret recipe to keep a secret. So I told her, I'm not going to give you the recipe, but if you pay me for the ingredients, I'll happily make you a cheesecake. Okay, great, deal.
That's
so I
awesome.
make her the cheesecake, and she gives me $40 for it. And I thought, holy moly.
Right.
Like a light bulb went off for me. And I thought in that moment, this is how I'm going to put myself through college. I'm going to bake my way through college, one cheesecake at a time.
That's fantastic. Now, how many cheesecakes do you think you've baked thus far?
Oh, thousands.
Thousands. So where do you do this? Do you do it in a commercial kitchen somewhere that you rent out?
Yes.
Do you have your own space?
Yes.
How does this work? Strategy wise.
Yeah.
How did you do business? Because it's great for people to hear what your strategy is as a young person and being so enterprising and having this light bulb go off. Like, how did you begin?
I think the great part about being young is that you are oblivious to a lot of things. You're not afraid to try because you don't know the consequences.
Right.
And I think as you get older, you get more cautious about trying new things, right? Or just doing it. You have
cautious. Yeah.
Right.
You become more cautious.
You have all of these brilliant ideas, but it's one thing to think and it's another thing to do.
Absolutely.
So backing up, I started it when I was 18 years old. Now I'm 21 and I've been baking for 3 years. And in that 3 years, I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that there's never going to be a right time to start a business. There's never going to be a right time to go to college, to buy a house, whatever. The right time is now. Just do it now. And even if it's a baby step, at least it's in the right direction moving forward. And the way I did that at my small little 18-year-old self is just make a post on Facebook. And that's what I did within making that cheesecake for Kristen. Within that first week, I had came up with the name. I had posted on Facebook, just a small post on my personal page. I'm going to be selling cheesecakes, $40 each, 9 inches, and all profits go towards college. Please message me if you're interested. And by the end of that first month, I had sold a cheesecake every single day. And it was amazing.
That is amazing.
That I started that on February 1st, and my birthday's on February 10th, and I went to go read the newspaper, and what do I see on the front page of the Hillsborough Tribune on my birthday? My face with a cheesecake.
Wow.
And by the time that article was released, I had been getting phone calls every single day and being on different radio shows and on newspapers and articles and whatnot. And really from there, it has just taken off. Yesterday morning, I got a call from Good Morning America in New York.
That's fantastic.
So I am really excited to see what happens.
Well, congratulations. This is so exciting. So, okay, you got a lot of things happening all at once now, once again, right? So
yes, ma'am.
It was the college applications, doing your essays, and then you went into the business and became this enterprising entrepreneur. And now you've got into the college of your choice. You did it, right? You did it. And now you've got Good Morning America calling you. You've got the papers, right? You've got all these things. What's going to happen? Like, how are you going to juggle all of this? Are you going to start in the fall? What are your plans, Anamaria?
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's so many things. I need to figure out where I'm going to live in the fall. I think that's pretty important, to find a place to live.
So I have to interject here because I did see a post about Cal housing. And you're like, oh no.
Tell me.
No. So I was in the dorms. Did you check out the dorms? How did it go?
Well, gosh. So I think it's a different experience going in as a freshman to a university rather than going in as a transfer junior. I'm 21 now, and think I have a pretty different mindset than an 18-year-old girl. And now what Berkeley has offered me is is a room in a dorm called Stern Hall, which is all women.
I know
it's
Stern.
The oldest dorm on campus. It's infamous for rats. There's no kitchen. That's the worst part. Not even the rats, but not having a kitchen, that's horrendous.
See a rat? Did you see a rat?
Sorry, did I see a rat? No,
Okay.
I have not seen a rat,
okay,
but
good.
I have been in contact with people who have lived there who had rat problems. And
wow.
And to top it off, it's $20,000 for 9 months. And considering I'm paying for my entire college education on my own, it's just way too much money for housing.
Right.
And not even great housing, right? Pretty horrible housing.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand. And, to let the listeners know, in fairness, I went to Berkeley. So, I'm familiar with some of the housing options there. And I know that they're limited because it is a city with a finite amount of housing. And, so unfortunately, sometimes you're like, oh man, I'm locked into this. But you coming into this at a, not as a freshman, so to speak, but as a transfer student, you might be able to look at, a different option, so to speak, an apartment situation, there's all different kinds, because one of the reasons I joined a sorority was to get out of housing.
Yeah, I think seriously, a lot of people do that just to have a community.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge school. I mean, at the time that I was going in, there was 30,000 people attending UC Berkeley. I don't know how many it is today, but it's a big school. And what makes it really interesting is that the city kind of migrates into the school. So you get a lot of character at that school. That's for darn sure.
That's for darn sure.
Was it kind of, you've attained the dream now. Was it kind of shocking going on campus and being like, oh, wow, this is new. This is an eye opener. This is different, especially after doing there, probably going to see it, when you're in high school, and now you're there and you're like, wow, this is kind of different for me now.
Yeah. Well, the truth is I've only visited UC Berkeley campus once. In high school, my parents and I guess in high school I wasn't old enough to drive. Senior year I could have drove, but we didn't really talk about college or visiting colleges, so I never got that opportunity. It was just a totally different world when I was applying as a senior. But now that I've moved on from being a senior and at Santa Rosa Junior College, I visited UC Berkeley, and I just felt this wave of competitiveness as soon as you step on campus, and brilliance from the people next to me throwing a frisbee, and they look elegant doing it. Like, how is that even possible? But there's just this sense of ingenuity there, and that's what I gathered when I went to go visit. And since then, I have not been back to campus since I've been accepted. But that was because I was studying abroad this past semester in Italy, and that's when I read my acceptance letter at 5 a.m. in Italy, crying my eyes out. And then I celebrated with a gelato. So it was great.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful. Yeah, you did say you had time to travel, which is awesome. Traveling is so, it opens up your eyes to so many things.
Exactly.
So now, because there's so many things, you're going to start the fall semester. What is it? Late August, early September?
No, so today's, I'm going to be starting in about 20 days.
Woo!
So we're counting down the days now.
You're counting down the days. And when's your interview with Good Morning America?
Yeah. So that's going to be taking place. I know, right? Oh my gosh. that's going to be taking place in the next 2 weeks. And also in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be taking my final cheesecake orders for a while until Thanksgiving. And also in the next 2 weeks, I need to sell and buy a new car. And also in the next 2 weeks, I need to find a place to live. And
wow.
A lot of stuff is going to be changing and happening. And it takes, and you know what? Also in the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be running a half marathon. So
my goodness, woman, you are doing so much. I want to congratulate you. You're doing it. You've done it. Here you are. And it just gives me the chills because I'm so happy for you. You are making your dreams come true. And through it all and the adversity and overcoming the obstacles, you've created something wonderful. You've created a business and you've learned from that business. You went to junior college and you did not give up and you went and traveled the world. So bravo to you. You have so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm leading into my last question here because
Sure.
you've given so much in regards to insight, what you're going to do, the value of, strategy, and attaining your goals. But my last question, what words of wisdom can you leave the listeners with today?
Oh gosh, so heavy. But I mean, seriously, that has become one of my greatest accomplishments over these past 2 years is to take the time to self-educate and self-improve me through self-help books, through reading leadership books, through listening to Tony Robbins and podcasts and inspirational people who really move me towards my goals and who encourage me to keep moving forward. And my room itself is full of mantras and quotes from Oprah and Jen Sincero and people that I admire and look up to. And I have pictures of Muhammad Ali, and I'm also an Elvis freak, so I obviously have a whole Elvis shrine in my room. But but I have people and quotes and things and books and pieces of literature that mean something to me in a positive way. And so I guess what I would recommend for any person, but especially young people, is to surround yourself with things and people. Maybe you don't even know those people. For example, I feel closest to Oprah, and I have never met her, but I still admire her so much. And as a young person, if you're not really in that environment of positivity, or you're not in a place where you want to be, it's so crucial to surround yourself with things that move you in the positive direction and encourage you to pursue your aspirations. So that's what I would recommend.
Well, wonderful.
Sorry.
No,
another thing that I really have learned to love is the law of attraction, and knowing what you want and focusing on that, and knowing that seeing is believing, but also believing first and then seeing the results after you truly believe. And whatever it is you want, whether that's housing or whether that's $1 million check, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same amount of positive energy that you put into that thing. And just reminding yourself of that every day, because some days are harder than others, and it's important to have those encouraging reminders.
I fully agree. And I'm just going to piggyback on what you said. I absolutely think it's imperative for people to surround themselves with those that are inspiring to them, as well as words, books, whatever inspires you, whatever allows you to get up in the morning and continue to go, right? Continue to achieve, whether that's getting up, whether that's taking a shower, whether or not that's going to college, whatever that is, surround yourself by people that are going to lift you up, that inspire you. And I absolutely fully believe in that. But you took that, and I like the second part of your words of wisdom, where you took that and you said, envision it and put the energy out there and it'll come to you. But you took that a bit further. You actually put action behind that. And I think,
right.
That's really important in your story, is that the action promoted the change as well. You had the positivity, you had the inspiration, and now you have the action. And those three combined, well, how could you not succeed? And here
magic.
It's magic, right?
Thank you.
So, thank you, Anamaria, for joining me on the Core Women podcast today. If you'd like to know more about Anamaria Morales, please follow College Confectionista on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go Bears! If you need a strategic empowerment coach, contact me. If you want to tell your story of empowerment or how you have reconstructed your life to drive change, send me a video or an email of your story, providing permission to use it on my social media platforms. If you want to be featured on my podcast, reach out to me at info@corewomen.com. I want to hear from you and to get to know you. You are now part of the Core Women home. Let's get to know each other. Let's learn from one another. Please follow Core Women on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please let your women friends know about this podcast. If you write about Core Women in your social media posts, please hashtag Core Women. This is all about women. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about Core Women, and please stay tuned for continued growth of the Core Women movement. Let's grow and drive change together.